To be joined by the head coach of the Spartans, Mark Dantonio. And look, Mark, I know it has been a really tough few days for you and your program. So before we get into the joy that was last season and preparing for this season, I want to talk a little bit about the sorrow of losing Mike Sadler. All I could say, you know, we discussed it yesterday. Our heart goes out to you and your team and his family. What have these last 48, 72 hours been like?
Well, it's been numbing. Not only for the Michigan State community, but for the Nebraska community as well with Sam. And, you know, I've spoken to the family, obviously, and I could just tell you it's shocking when it first happens, but as you get a grip around things, I know that Mike Sadler, he was a lover of life and big giver, and he would want us to move on and move forward and honor him in the way we handle ourselves and always look forward and put a smile on people's faces, and that's who he was. But the world's going to be a little lonelier, as I said the other day, a little sadder without Mike Sadler, and he had so much to live for, but a very powerful person within our program, and he was extremely well-loved by all his teammates.
How have the guys internally who played with Mike, and we're going to visit with a few of them here later in the day, so I'll be able to ask them, but how have they dealt with this news, and what kind of advice, what can you give them as a coach, as a leader, as a mentor in a time like this?
You know, our team is off this week, so nobody's here, so they had to hear it while they're at home. And then I came here on Monday. So, you know, I've not been able to yet talk with them, probably won't until next Monday. But what I would say is what I say to my own children who were connected with Mike, you know, that life needs to move on. It hangs by a thread. You know, don't count on anything. Always try and look to try and make other people's lives happier. And Mike was truly a light.
Coach, a couple things about your last game. One, have you taken Becky's advice and put the game behind you?
Yeah, I have, until I got asked a question about it earlier today.
And then you asked him again.
Darn media stirring things up, right?
Well, Becky has a way to put things in perspective. Second thing, I've heard you do this before. We've all been together for 10 years, right? We all started together. Yeah. You take big picture things at a certain events, certain games that you've coached, that you've verbalized to us. Was there anything in that game, big picture? I know it was a tough loss, but more than that, is there a big picture that you took from the way that game unfolded?
Yeah, I think what I took away from that football game is it's bigger than you think. I went into the game thinking that this is another bowl game, big bowl game, a lot at stake, but we played on a big stage before. But what I don't think I was ready for, and maybe our players, was the extent of the media coverage and how that changed your schedule up a little bit. And, you know, when the ball's kicked off at 8 o'clock that night, you know, you need to be ready to play. And I thought we were, and I thought we played pretty well early on. But now I'm getting to where my wife said again, hey, get over it. But at the same time, you know, you got to make plays to win. And you got to be ready for that moment. When your moment is there, you've got to shine.
Coach, you're going to have some young wide receivers out there, and there's one in particular I want to ask you about, Donnie Corley, who was there early enrollee, who really, from all accounts, is really impressed in workouts and also on the field. Can you tell us how you see him being involved in the offense and as he grows as a player this year?
Well, we're going to be young at wide receiver, but we've got some guys with a lot of talent, and Donnie Corley is one of those guys, and he's only a true freshman. You know, he came in there like 178 or something like that. He's 198 pounds, almost 200 pounds now. So, you know, he's ready to go, but, you know, Felton Davis is a guy, you know, brought on R.J. Shelton here. Monty Medeiros, I think, is poised for a big year, much like Benny Fowler was. So we've got guys, we've got players, and it's going to be exciting to watch them.
I quote you all the time about this quarterbacks that create. It looks like you're going to have a quarterback that creates, make things happen with his legs. Does that evolve you offensively at all?
I think it does to some extent. Just depends on how it's going, really. But we have the ability to do that with both those two guys. Really, all four of them have that ability. So we have 4 Big Ten quality quarterbacks with live arms. They're big guys. They're athletic guys. And, you know, 2 of them been in our system for quite some time, and I think are poised to go.
And you've been down this road before.
Oh, yeah, we've been down the road.
We've been down all roads.
When you've had to make that adjustment. So what all will go into it? We talked about creating, but also are there some things that, say, the fan doesn't get a chance to see as far as what's going on in between the lines that will determine who that starter is?
Well, at the quarterback position, you got to make good decisions. You can't turn the ball over, and the first thing you've got to do is get us in the right play at the line of scrimmage and provide leadership. And then you've got to create. Now, creating sometimes like Kirk Cousins with his throws or Connor Cook with the throwing the ball open, throwing the wide receiver open, and there's other opportunities to do it with your legs. So we'll see how it all shakes out. And like my good friend Earl Bruce used to say, you can't starve the horse that pulls the load. So we're going to give that ball to the tailback too, because we've got guys at that position.
You lost the overwhelming majority of your leadership council, your leadership group. How's the leadership on this team with so few guys who have been in positions like that before?
That's always a big question, because I think as a senior, you've got to have your best season. If you want to do great things, your seniors have to have their best seasons, and we've been able to accomplish that. We've got 31 guys that have started for us on our football team, so we have more than enough talent. How we approach things and find our leaders, and leadership is thrust on people. When you're a sophomore, maybe you're not leading quite as much, but as you get older, that leadership, you step into that circle and you start to lead by example or by voice, but you've got to play first. You've got to play.
That being said, I think there are always going to be doubts about this program. At this point, I don't know why. Frankly, I think that you thrive off it. I think you secretly enjoy it because it gives you it gives you a way to motivate the team. I mean, and I get that. But that being said, this is a little bit of a different situation because you did lose so many leaders. So do you address this group differently than you would have addressed last year's group? How does it impact the way you communicate, the way you lead, and the way you prepare for a season?
Well, leadership, just like anything, is a process. It's not going to start all of a sudden on August the 5th. This has started last year when we came off that bowl game. Our winter workouts, our spring practice, all these different things, the summer conditioning, all those things have pushed toward leadership. This is really the final turn. If you're running a 400 once time around, we're in that final turn. And so we've established who our leaders were to some extent. And now, you get to August camp and you find out who's for real. But it's an exciting process for us. That's what makes college football so beautiful, is that, it's always going to go through cycles and change. But I like our football team. I always have. And, you guys write, you guys talk. Not you guys. But you know what I mean? And they need to have something to do for 6 months, and then, the players take over.
Yeah. Two teams in the country have finished in the AP top 10 each of the last 3 years. Alabama's one of them. Michigan State is the other one. First coach in Big Ten history to have 5 11-win seasons in 6 years, Mark Dantonio and the Spartans.
That's why he's smiling. He's always smiling.
Yeah, he is. He's really a smiling
guy. Just for the general public out there, I want you to know I'm always smiling. Always. Except on game day.
You're doing your job. Shouldn't be smiling.
That's right.
Mark Dantonio, you always bring a smile back. Thanks a lot
guys.
for dropping by, Coach.
Thank you.